If you have ever spent time in Ho Chi Minh City, you probably know about Thao Dien. It is often described as this leafy riverside bubble, a sanctuary filled with international schools, trendy cafes, and luxury villas. For years, it has been the go-to haven for high-earning foreign executives. But recently, the whispers on the streets tell a very different story. The luxury real estate market there is facing a quiet but significant reckoning. Have you noticed how the energy in these high-end neighborhoods has shifted lately?
I have, and it is fascinating because it reflects a much larger global trend. What we are seeing in Thao Dien right now is a direct reaction to the economic headwinds shaking up multinational corporations worldwide. The days of companies handing out blank checks for executive housing are rapidly coming to an end. It is no longer about finding the most opulent villa on the river. It is about cost efficiency, pragmatism, and navigating a much tighter financial reality.
It is like the golden era of the expat package is fading. I remember when a senior executive moving to Saigon could easily expect a monthly housing allowance of $3, $4, or even $5,000. That is a massive amount of money in Vietnam. But now, those corporate budgets are getting slashed. What are the numbers looking like today?
The drop is quite dramatic. Those premium budgets have essentially been cut in half, or even more. Today, many companies are capping housing allowances for their foreign staff at around $1,000 to $1,800 a month. And it is not just about shrinking budgets. The entire hiring strategy is evolving. There is a massive push toward what the industry calls localization.
Localization. Meaning, instead of flying someone in from London or New York and paying for their relocation, housing, and kids' tuition, companies are looking closer to home.
Exactly. They are either hiring highly skilled local professionals who do not require these expensive expat packages, or they are offering localized contracts to foreign expats who are already living in the country. When you switch an expat to a local contract, those generous housing allowances disappear. They get a lump sum salary, and suddenly they have to pay rent out of their own pocket. And when it is your own money on the line, your perspective on what is necessary versus what is a luxury changes overnight.
That makes total sense. If the company is paying, you choose the penthouse with the private pool. If you are paying, you start looking at the utility bills. This must be causing a massive migration within the property market itself. Where are all these renters going if they are leaving those ultra-luxury developments?
They are downgrading, but in a very strategic way. People are moving out of the ultra-premium residences where rents used to easily exceed $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Instead, they are flocking to mid-tier developments. Projects that offer solid, modern amenities but at a fraction of the cost, say between $700 and $1,000, are seeing a huge surge in demand.
It is a shift from luxury branding to pure utility. But what about single expats or younger couples who do not need a massive 3-bedroom apartment? Are they staying in these traditional condos?
A new trend in Thao Dien shows younger expats choosing boutique serviced apartments or smart studios in quiet areas. These cost $500, $700 a month and often include housekeeping, internet, and utilities, offering affordable, hassle-free living with the Thao Dien lifestyle.
It sounds like a highly optimized way of living. You get the location, you get the convenience, but you strip away all the financial waste. But this must be putting a lot of pressure on local landlords. For years, they had the upper hand, charging premium rents because demand was so high. How are they reacting to this new reality?
The market has shifted to favor tenants. Landlords who once held firm on high prices now must negotiate, often cutting rents by 10–20% or covering building fees and furniture upgrades to avoid vacancies.
It is a classic lesson in supply and demand. An empty apartment generates zero revenue, so it is better to take a cut than to hold out for a price that no one is willing to pay anymore. But I imagine it is not just about the monthly rent. Are tenants demanding more flexibility in their contracts as well?
Absolutely. The days of signing a rigid 2-year lease are mostly gone. Renters today want agility. They are pushing for shorter leases, like 6 months or a year. More importantly, they are demanding strict diplomatic clauses in their rental agreements.
A diplomatic clause? How does that work in practice?
It is essentially an escape hatch. It allows the tenant to terminate the lease early without losing their security deposit if they are suddenly laid off, if their company restructures, or if they are recalled back to their home country. With so much global economic uncertainty, expats want to know they can pack up and leave if things go south without being financially penalized. It is all about risk management.
It sounds like a prenuptial agreement for renting. It protects you if the corporate relationship ends unexpectedly. But let us look at the bigger picture. Thao Dien has always had this unique status as the expat hub. But is that geographic monopoly starting to crack? Are other areas in the city starting to look more attractive to these budget-conscious renters?
Yes, the competition is heating up, and it is coming from right next door. Districts like Binh and the newly developing Thiem area are posing a massive threat to Thao Dien. If you look at Thiem, it has these brand new, state-of-the-art residential projects. The infrastructure is modern, the roads are wider, and most importantly, the commute into the central business district is incredibly fast.
Right, you just crossed the bridge and you are in the heart of District 1. Meanwhile, Thao Dien is notorious for its narrow streets and flooding during the rainy season.
If you're an expat budgeting your living costs, you might question paying more to live in Thao Dien with its traffic and floods, when you can find a new, cheaper apartment in Thiem or Binh with a 10-minute commute. Many expats are also moving to large suburban townships offering green spaces, clean air, and lower living costs, ideal for families seeking to avoid city stress.
It feels like the Thao Dien tax is finally being challenged. People are realizing that they do not have to pay extra just for the name of the neighborhood if other districts can offer a comparable or even better quality of life. So, when we look at all of this, the corporate budget cuts, the shift toward value, the rise of competing neighborhoods, what is the ultimate takeaway? Is this a temporary downturn, or are we looking at a permanent evolution of the city's rental landscape?
The market is maturing and correcting itself. High rental yields with little effort are no longer realistic. Pragmatic landlords who maintain properties, price fairly, and stay flexible still find tenants. Those expecting expats to pay premium prices without reason face long vacancies.
It is a transition from a speculative market to a value-driven one, and perhaps that is healthier for the city in the long run. It forces properties to be priced realistically and encourages developers to focus on what tenants actually value, rather than just building for luxury prestige.
Precisely. It brings a level of balance back to the market. It makes the city more accessible and sustainable, not just for foreigners, but for the entire community.
It is a fascinating shift to watch. As global economic tides continue to change, it will be interesting to see how these neighborhoods adapt and whether Thao Dien can reinvent itself to maintain its charm in this new, pragmatic era. To everyone listening, thank you for joining us today. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and we will talk to you again soon.